Game 4 was all aboard the honey train. That whistle didn't really work, but here we are. I'm not Monte Cristo. This year is not 2013, but we are all aboard the train all the same as we head towards Silver Scrapes in the semifinals of the LJL Spring Playoffs. Gentlemen, we got to go real fast. Adaptations for Game 5. 2 liners, please. Swan first.
Honey gets Jinx again. Good.
RMC.
Jinx. Blue side, Rascal Jesters. First pick Jinx.
No.
Middle cut.
I copy-pasted wrong draft here. Doesn't matter. Just win. Execute better.
Execute better. It was the blue one. Jinx, in any case, we've got to see the Jesters spin it away. They've got to do something different when it comes to Rascal Jesters being proactive, because we're all thinking about Honey's Jinx right now. What else has got to change? I know had a really good game 4. We got to see something else come out of here. Going to go to Swan again.
Mecha invading once. Take it to him.
Go back the other way in the jungle, RMC.
Agreed. I think mid lane, Jet, big problem. Don't give him Corki. Don't give him something that already.
Don't give the man the range. Never the range.
But we're banning like 5 champions of his now.
Gotta do it.
That's what you have to do. Do it.
Middle cut, what do you need?
I want Secret to get active on the map. I want him to get out of his house. I want him to go over to the Sengoku team house and unplug their router. Okay, because I predicted 3-2 Rascal Jester, and at the moment, it's Sengoku with the momentum.
Sengoku with the momentum. Indeed, me and you, the only 2 left on the predictions board. One must rise, one must fall. And I'm not talking about predictions. The finalist for the LJL will be the winner of this all-important game. We're just waiting on the draft to get started. It will be any moment. The tension is palpable. You can taste it in the air. I can hear things in the background.
Custis.
It might be. Is it them? Nightmare? Initialize? Is it you? It's not them. It's something else.
Not them. It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet.
We're not ready. In that case, there's more time for us, gentlemen. More time for us. I want to take a bet with all of you. I think we're going to see recap on Vega. Absolute shocker. I want to know, how much AP do you think he's going to get this time? We've seen a 1300. We've seen even a 700, both at about the 40-minute mark. Because this series is the way it is.
We don't have time.
We don't have time. It's them again. The casters. Take it away.
I'm so ready. Are you ready, Sam?
I
think I'm ready.
So
We're ready. Are you ready with us, chat? Game 5, one of the best series we have ever seen in the LJL. Let's fucking bring it.
I am so ready. My voice is not. This is madness on the Rift. It's been madness behind the scenes. We have had 4 over 40-minute games in this series of both these teams playing it to the goddamn wire. I have been on the edge of my seat. My voice is on the edge of breaking. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And I have to say, I noticed in the first 2 games, I didn't know if I could last my whole voice if I did that for the whole series. And yet we're still here. We're still hanging on in there. It's working. All of the things are still in place just about. But, I mean, I really want to echo what Middlecott said on the end of that desk. The drafts have been playable from both sides in all games. And they have damn well played them. It comes down to execution. And it comes down to, again, the big name stepping up. We talked about Recaps Vega. He lost on that last game. Big pick though it may be, it wasn't enough to overcome Honey's Jinx. Draft will play a huge factor in this, but if there are tools to fight, you know these teams are going to go right at each other's throats.
I am so ready. We've gone for the slightly ridiculous gimmick here. I appreciate the fact that yours is just tied around your headphones. Whereas I went for a neater option. I think it looks probably slightly less good.
No, this is to actually keep my headphones on my head.
I see, yeah.
I'm getting so crazy in here.
I know.
I need the extra securing.
I'm aware I'm not going to take this tie off, especially easily at this point. I believe we're headed to picks and bans, and we are ready to start up this last game. Ridiculous gimmicks or not.
Yeah, and again, we're probably going to see a lot of similar things in this draft. Do you want to take a minute to say, though, again, if you are watching this region for the first time in the semifinals, this is the kind of game which would make me love this region again, because it is making me, again, remember so much about why this region is one which is so close to my heart. And both of these teams have been stalwarts of this league. They are looking to get through to a finals again. It would have to be a victory of the ages to go against DFM in the finals, but both of these teams are fighting tooth and nail to even get there.
Sengoku Gaming are back on the red side. That means Honey does not get Jinx. It's back in Soul's hands. He's been phenomenal on the champion this split, this series as well. What have Sengoku Gaming got in response?
Well, they might
Java
just
got
go.
banned away from once.
They might just go for the Tahm Kench again.
Yeah.
At this point, I wonder if you want to lock in something which isn't the Aphelios and leave Aphelios till 3. But the thing is, at that point, you don't have a response on 3 to whatever Rascal Jesters have. You can lock in Aphelios Tahm Kench and say, look, we don't care about the Hecarim right now, because if you pick the Hecarim into us, you have to do it into a Tahm Kench and into the Aphelios. That'll be kind of difficult. But then the question is, if you don't lock in Tahm Kench now, you're giving over Jinx Tahm Kench to Rascal Jester, which is a very dangerous eventuality. I think that as much as it led to the Resident Sleeper match of this series in Game 2 up until crazy things happened, the Tahm Kench is a huge priority in this game.
Thinking about the Lee Sin for once as well. The Jarvan gets banned. It's back to Comfort. It's back to the playmaker for once. Again, it wasn't the most extreme, explosive early game, but mid and late game team fighting for this guy on the Lee Sin was critical to them finding the important picks to get the game wins. A Rek'Sai hover is not a Rek'Sai lock, but thoughts do begin to mull over what that champion would look like into this matchup. Instead, it's back to Jin Zhao, a pick that has yet to be seen this series.
Now, what we... Last split, and coming into this one as well, Rascal Jesters were actually quite a typecast team. They were quite telegraphed, because you knew that Sol would play one of the crit carries, you'd have an engaging support, and Hachimecha would play Jin Zhao. It wasn't even anything else, it was just Jin Zhao. Now, this is going to be, I believe, the nerfed Jin Zhao, so you have a second less on your ultimate. It's 4 seconds instead of 5, a couple of other nerfs coming across the board. But this does give off over the Tahm Kench as well. You want to dive into that, into the Aphelios. Honey has an extra degree of safety to play aggressively with. And oh boy, has he played aggressively when he's been given that degree of safety. Lee Sin Kick also helping in that regard. But now we're looking at both solo lanes. Given some extra room to breathe, potentially room to counter pick. We're going to have a counter pick per side at this point, unless there's a flex pick left up from Sengoku, but we're going to see a lot of targeted bans now about what's been strong in this series. The Tryndamere away from Ino, that dealt a lot of damage to Sengoku in the games where that was in.
Absolutely, it's Echo away from Jet as well. Got to remember, of course, that Jet has been the one with counter pick whenever Sengoku Gaming have been able to give it to him. He is such a core part of their drafting strategy. Has meant that Paz in trade has been the one asked to blind pick, and I know has come up with some fairly impressive individual leads. He's been a fairly okay split push threat. He's kept Paz down. The problem is that even when Paz is put on the Renekton duty, we're like, oh, what's going with the champion? Honestly, the late game from Paz on the Renekton has actually been pretty damn effective. He's definitely comfortable on the champion, perhaps in spite of the champion's raw stats and expected outcomes from it.
Paz has piloted. Paz has piloted their Renekton well, but this is going to be a mid lane Ziggs and a top lane Bard. Are we getting top lane Bard in the last game of this series?
I think we are. As a reminder, Recap was a big Ziggs player. We are used to seeing Ziggs in the LJL. We used to cast Seros of all people. And that means that we've got to see what the counter is to Jet, because what do you play into this?
But there is something to be said about Recap. That would be disastrous for Rascal Jester. Who deals with the Akali? Well, you have to find out a way to do it. Jet's had a band away from it in this series. We have gone off the rails. Rascal Jester, maybe they thought they didn't have to show all their cards in this series. This is a deck of strange and magical things. It's got Bard in the top lane. I don't know if this is actually going to be Smite or not. Of course, that was banned. I wonder if this is just top lane Bully Bard, using the early level 1 power spike, going up there early. There is a chance of it. And you know what it is? It's another form of engage. It's Leona ult. You have that into the Ziggs ult. You've got Jinx Rocket flying over the top, and you've got the Tempered Fate to help that going back alongside it. But still, Jet on the Akali has an awful lot of agency, and that's got to scare you if you're Rascal Jester. We have pulled out all the stops, and we're left with a very strange path ahead.
It is the proverbial sword of Damocles. This series is hanging by a thread, and we need to see whether Jet can perfectly execute it. That guillotine, looking to try and cut the head off one of these teams one way or another. You called out the Akali, I completely agree. The Bard top, I doubt it's a Smite Roma. Like, that's kind of been horribly nerfed. It's just not available as it stands. Yeah. And now you've got to ask that question about, well, okay, how do you build this Bard? Is it like AP start item into like Deadman's kind of vibe?
That's a switch.
That's top lane Leona.
Okay. So, we're going to
Okay.
have ourselves off meta either way. Now, we did wonder whether it was going to be some Bard shenanigans in that top side, but given that the timer did tick down, I know, has himself Leona on that top side. He has himself. I mean, there was actually, funnily enough.
Okay,
we were in a
tell
draft
me.
recently. We were in a draft recently, and someone was asking, "Hey, can you play Leona top?" And I straight out said, "Absolutely not, no." But if you can survive early enough against the Renekton, you get solo lane gold, solo lane XP on the Leona, get that W maxed out for a while, like earlier into the game rather. That's actually a very strong frontlander to throw into the equation. I just don't think you can have anything early game to play around there.
So, my question then becomes, how do you lane as a solo lane Leona? And I'm assuming has it got to be in the Eclipse max to get something resembling some wave clear?
So in support, obviously you max out that W. It might be Q for disengage,
Maybe.
just to be able to kind of like stop Renekton just wailing on you time after time. But if you don't have max W, I don't know if you can survive a two-man gang top. I think that's a way for you to lose this game, but... Okay, you know what? Okay, we have been baited twice. We've been baited twice. The Observer needs to switch this around. I know is role swapping to support. Secret has Smite on Bard.
Okay,
We have double support item. There is a Smite on Bard.
so to explain, that makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. And that is a roaming smite top. More likely.
No. Okay, so I remember a while ago when the first games of Ezreal Double Tier came out, and everyone was like, "Ha, this is so funny. What do you make of this?" And some of the casters were like, "Well, this is just weird." And you have to make some hot takes. Now, we made a lot of hot takes before anything came up. There is level 1 potential from this roaming group. They're going to go spot them out. They're going to be spotted out by Jet. But now we have to really see and learn about this pick on the fly and see, is this in or is this secret tech? They're using the level 1 priority to move in. Bard's level 1 incredibly strong, and Secret has played this champion for a great many years. This could actually just be leaving top lane alone for a little while and eventually working your way up towards the top side of the map. But once he does have that level 2, of course, after being helped out by Paz, might just go trade vertical jungle for vertical jungle, and we have to see what value you're going to get out of this Bard at the level 1, helping out your jungler.
A little bit of history for those who've not followed Secret's career. Remember that he used to be over in the LCK where he made his name on Bard. He was such a good Bard player. He and I believe Key for Escape Ever, if I remember correctly, were the two
Ever
incredible, did an incredible job of making Bard a very high priority pick back in the day. And you see what he can do on this one. He's very well versed on the
This reminds
champion.
me of, we had a series of finals, actually, in 2020 summer, where V3 pulled out a off-meta lane swap with a Scion dying on weak side to kind of like use the zombie to clear out things like that. In Game 5, this is very similar vibes. This is going to be a test of Sengoku learning how to play around the bot side of the map. Actually, you can see what Honey and NT are doing. They don't know where Hachimetra has passed to, because this could have been full bot side clear into gank bot, diving it while they're still level 1. They backed off of the tower. They're making sure that they understand that they're safe. And there's still the chance that that happens. Once has recalled after doing a full clear of the top side, looking to defend it. This dive could mean everything if it works or it doesn't. Let's see how much Honey and NT lose.
The AI is throwing a very interesting number out there, seriously favoring Rascal Jesters. I don't know whether that number is correct, but statistically, at least, there you have the numbers. They're pulling away from the dive right now. They're looking to see whether they can spot this out.
Okay,
once off the back of this.
Let's see what they're doing. 4v3 at level 1 on the Bard. He has a strong level 1, though.
He does. What can they make happen? There's the teleport. It's going to be a mess. Once Lancer started away, flash out from Secret. Remember, there is no magical journey. Out goes Hachimetra. Jet blast for the 5-point strike. First blood. Shuriken flip comes through. Sol is about to reach the dark side of the moon, but he does about survive. Sunset of the bot lane.
And that dive in the bot side works out horribly for Rascal Jester. This is what you need to do. Use your unorthodox early power to find some way to stop the hyper carry getting online. They get an assist. They're down in some CS, but they're not shut out of this game. Mission failed, Rascal Jester. What's your next play? What's your plan B?
I'll tell you what it is. It's do it all over again. The teleport's down from both top laners. You've got flashes down from all of the Sengoku members, and you've still got what you need on Sol's side. You just run it. back and hope it goes better the next time, but we've got to go through the replay first.
Because, I mean, the problem is now you don't have an Ignite or a Flash on Ino to start off this play. Again, does connect that Zenith play, but again, this is incredibly intelligent by Sengoku. They have completely read Rascal Jesters. They had once going up towards the top side, full clear going back. While all this was happening, NC and Honey scanned out the bot side of the jungle, understood that they were going to be in time for once to be there. Sengoku outplay Rascal Jester, and they outplay them as a team.
Still, though, remember, Honey lost a lot of that wave. He's still down 17 CS. And that means that, yes, you got a Renekton shoving, but Renekton getting free lane, is that as scary as you think? We're going to go back and invade.
Because we're looking towards this bot side. Again, camps have respawned. You've got level 4s now, but either way, you're not dealing with a level 1 Aphelios who's not really a champion. Once gets himself some wolves, he's going to have to deal with a potential secret play. Of course, remember, he is still level 1. Doesn't even have a magical journey. Doesn't have himself any portals.
Coming over.
But they're going in for a fight.
2v3. Where are the rest of Rascal Jesters? Jet's going to come over and try and invade. Abyssal Journey comes in to knock up, and Secret's knocked down. One's chunked out, but will not fall. It's a double for the Lee Sin, and Rascal Jesters fail another play.
They do, and it is bold. It is different. It is unorthodox. But it doesn't hit the mark. It completely falls off the radar. I appreciate the boldness. This is the kind of play where you see how the script is run, you think, look, we need to do something different, but they just go way too far. Recap has not been involved with the plays. He's still going to be teaming up with the Bard and Leona later on into the game, but this is meant to be a comp which explodes into the Rift, and it hasn't done that. Huddy is still online. He's down some CS. He's still keeping up in experience, however, and Sengoku are so happy with how they've played out this early game.
And the thing is, Sengoku Gaming have not been a one-carry team. Yes, the Honey Show is a very valuable part of their set, of their repertoire. You look to the mid lane, you remember who hit that first team All-Pro for us here on the LJL OU. It is the man on the Akali who got first blood, who's got a couple of sits. It's once on the Lee Sin as well to add a little bit more to it. And you got Paz who getting 4 plates by 6 minutes.
And he started cold. Did notice that right from the off, but of course, that was just a secondary thing.
Yeah.
But now when you start looking at how the game has worked out, you've survived the early onslaught. Paz is going to, we said, look, Renekton falls off pretty early. Yeah, but what happens if they accelerate? Because they have a free lane, they get free plates, and they get to just run across the map rampant. We haven't even got to Herald yet. Let's go see if that ends up exploding things even more. Either way, Rascal Jester, they're continuing to play towards this playbook. They have everyone on the bot side jungle. They are holding down Honey to an extent, 20 CS down. It's just not enough for what they really wanted.
And of course, because it's a smite roaring top, you expect a fairly significant CS discrepancy, a gold discrepancy. 3,000 gold and 3 kills over, that hasn't really translated elsewhere in the map, is problematic.
And, you know, a lot of people will rightfully criticize Rascal Jester for pulling out the strategy, because this is a strategy that did get nerfed. When you have multiple support items on your team, you do have less chance to get objective bounties. It changes the calculation. You don't have that same ability to get back into the game, and there are ways where you start losing more gold for CS from that too. But, I mean, you've already lost so many plates in this top side. You've now actually given potentially Aphelios an ability to catch up in CS2. You will move around that map, but if you leave this too long to make another big play, you're going to have teleports coming back again. And when you split this map up, you're going to have a very, very angry crocodile breathing down your neck.
Not so much a crocodile at that point, but more like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Absolutely back from the primeval age, extended to that kind of level of power purely because of the amount of gold he's got.
So we have everyone going top side.
Oh,
Secret
isn't very secret any longer. He's down for the count. He's on the backside, looking to get some more damage down. Does have the perfect execution. His Shield of Day breaks into damage. I know, make sure to split himself away from his team so there isn't an easy follow-up.
And if this early game comp does not work out, well, what are you here for? You do have a Ziggs ult, you don't have the Solar Flare. What are you doing here, Rascal Jester? Maybe they feel like they are forced to do this. Use the Herald, maybe steal it, get that onto the Ziggs. So many ways to work out for them, but
here we go. Gonna try and find something of an engage. Paz gets knocked back by the Satchel Charge. Jet on the side does not get hit by the Zenith Blade. He's just playing on the absolute edge of it.
And he stops and he dances and he presses that S key over and over and says, maybe you can't catch me this time. But again, while we have a brief moment to breathe, very briefly, I mean, we'll see actually if that happens. Sol's eventually caught out here. See if there's a slice and dice inbound.
Goes down. Here is Ino. And look who's back. It's Secret, who has died twice this game. But he's not going to get too much more done.
There are a lot of people who are going to be sat here and again, rightfully criticizing Rascal Jester for this strategy not working. But you think about it. What is Sengoku's strength? it's Honey. Well, this is one of the best ways to shut out Honey from a game. You just make sure he doesn't get any resources, dive him over and over. That should have been a power point for them. Sengoku just responded better. And if they get that early lead and go into a Herald, lane swap up, and then you have a Ziggs to use that Herald with, again, insane ability to snowball this game. I like the strategy. It didn't work out. They're trying again. They're hyper-forcing, but they're not getting much for it.
It's finally a kill on the board. Topside makes it work, and Paz is renekton, is shut down a couple more plates.
Right. So, that's a kill over to that side. First one of the game, and they're not for lack of trying. They've really hammered it. It feels like Rascal Jester have seriously prepped this comp. It's just not working out cleanly for them. They're continuing up here. They have the Ziggs. Looks what happens if they can get this.
That's a massive knockback onto N2's about to go down. Does go down. Perfectly executed, though, is Sol. They're going to extricate themselves on a magical journey. It'll be a 1-for-1 plus teleport, all things said and done.
If your game plan was to shut down Honey, look at his weapons. He has a Herald in inventory. It's not even on the jungler. Honey is going to get a full 4 plates here at minimum.
There are benefits to banking in. This counts right out there. Call it investment, I tell you. He is a hedge fund by himself in this game.
And now you're looking at this, and it feels like a V3-esque strategy where they have got something awkward put up their sleeves, and they think, look, we've got some magic here. Let's see if it works out. They feel like they have prepped it. Again, I can see the logic. Sometimes there is a skill in spectating a game to say, what does the enemy team see? What's it look like through their lens? Because this is an odd one to try and really see, because it hasn't worked out, and it has been nerfed, and it is risky, and it looks awful when it's behind. But there is some logic to it. Rascal Jesters threw down a different set of cards from a different set of decks. It just hasn't met the game in this time.
They try to pull a Joker, and unfortunately, the joke's on them. Jesters, by name or not. Sol's still going to pick up a couple more plates, but the problem is it's come in trade for a full tower in topside, 4 plates in bot. And in fairness, it's still not game over. If they can get to a mid-game and not fall too much further behind, there's a lot of utility and a very scary Jinx that can do a lot of work.
I'm going to do something I do very rarely, and that's acknowledge Twitch chat.
You sure?
I'm going to talk about this, because Bard has actually gone for the smite item, not gone for that the support item.
Indeed.
Still works out, I believe, in terms of the objective bounties in the same way when you have multiple of them on the same team, but he's now sat here with a chilling smite. We'll have to watch out for that. Will it help them get themselves another pick? It looks like they have got themselves position in this river. They can stack up themselves a second dragon, but Sengoku, I think they're pretty happy to just leave this, right?
Absolutely, I think they are. And with the double smite, it's going to be very hard to get a hold of this. Once will come over and think about stealing, but it's just not going to be a possibility. Double do that. And that's the thing is, this isn't really double support. This isn't roaming support with smite. This is double jungle. It is slightly different.
Okay, but the second jungle doesn't actually take jungle camps. It gets really weird. Either way, it's not something I expected to see on this current patch. Not something which I'm particularly prepped for, but either way, Sol now caught out. He's going to get devoured.
There's the solar flare afterwards. Sol, pretty high HP though, gets a kill, and Paz going to try and turn this one around and will do so. A 1-for-1 right now, but 2 supports, or rather a jungle slash support, trying to make this one out. They'll get towards the tower, and Paz, I don't think he's going to get too much more done until once and Jet come down. They're going to try and interrupt as they come along. Hachimecha is here, flash from Secret. We'll try and get the bind into the wall. It's a kick over. Gonna get rooted by the Shield of Daybreak. Wants to have to flash out. Jet to the back end of Hachimecha, who's got a Gore Drinker, but will not be able to get to the magical journey. Gets stunned in place. Jet can look for but more. Will have the Shuriken flip under the tower, but out of range with the flash. The Death Rocket goes wide, and Sengoku Gaming come out with it all.
They do, and it has just been outplay after outplay. And as much as we framed this series at the start of the day as Rascal Jester, the team which works better all together, the ensemble performance, the better quote-unquote team compared to potentially better individuals, this entire game, this Game 5, the one where it counts, has been not just Sengoku playing around strong individual performances, but playing around as an intelligent unit as well. They've got themselves a huge advantage, setting themselves up for, after a 0-2 start, after a 0-5 streak, after the 0-3 they took against Detonation Focus Me, they're looking for a rematch.
Oh yes, they are, and we saw in the replay while all of the madness in bot lane was going on, Honey gets a solo kill on recap. The Honey show is well and truly online. It took a little while for the Honey to melt into the tea, but it is oh so sweet at this point.
Gonna have to drink that one down, soothe those vocal cords, because by God, we've needed it after these crazy games. Now, not all of them have been engage early game weirdness like this one. We've had long 40-minute games for most of it. We're only 14 minutes in, and honestly, this could match most of the aggression for potentially most of Game 2 if we call back to that one, but still, it has been close. It has been intriguing.
Here we go.
Now we have Paz once again given so much of a lead for his team. Not even finished off that cull, but has definitely got a penchant for violence in this game. Potentially looking for a way to go into that mid lane. Going to call off the play for now, return back to that bot lane, and look to see if he can cash out that cull.
Renekton will roam his way likely towards the bottom. He's hovering in the jungle, doesn't want to give this one up quite yet because Sol is being left alone to try and get some damage done in this mid lane. But here comes the collapse. It will be the team fight. Once gets in, doesn't find the best angle yet. Recap trying to stay alive. Secret and Sol so damn low. Paz deletes him. It's a 2 for none right now. They'll try and turn it somewhat around, but the damage is just dead. Recap and Sol are gone.
They're gone, and once again, Rascal Jesters cannot fight at this point. At this point, they're 8,000 gold down. You can't hold into your turrets. Where can you stand?
Avert thine eyes. It is a disaster on the Rift. They don't even get the Renekton. Jet is proxy farming in mid lane. Once comes in for another kill. 13 kills to 3. Sengoku Gaming are about to make the reverse sweep a reality, you have to feel.
And in what style, too? There is something to be said. I mean, like, look at us as casters, right? We obviously haven't prepped for this strat ourselves, and we're saying, hey, like, well, we're kind of guessing about some of this. You can see some of the logic. For Sengoku to look at it, stare down the barrel of whatever weirdness this is, and say, yeah, I'll take that. I fancy my odds, and just brutally outplay them from start to mid-game has been incredible to watch. You do see Recap, again, trying to get some decent damage through, trying to play around this combo, but they know they're in the lead at this point, and Sengoku, with this lead across everyone for once, is really making this team shine.
Check in the picture there. We'll see a nice little bit of play out of once here, but we've got to fight in the Herald. It will be secured by Secret, but now Rascal just need to try and extricate themselves. They can't actually pick up the eye, so it's a kill, and they won't even be able to claim their prize. It's left wanting on the ground for the 3rd time this series.
And we have praised Rascal Jester for at least understanding the philosophy of the comp. Say, okay, shut down bot lane. That's something which is normally very good versus Sengoku as a team. That's intelligent. I like that. That's a good way to think about the game. The execution, though, has been absolutely brutalized by Sengoku also understanding that. Also knowing what Rascal Jester brought to the table, and it has led to this unholy landslide of gold towards Sengoku.
There are some deep depths to which you can go on this earth. There's some trenches in the ocean, since the Mariana Trench. Right there is the deepest spot. I feel like that gold graph. Starting to aim at a similar kind of depth right now. 9,000 gold at 16 minutes in is just extraordinary.
And you know what? Specific shout out to Once. Once had some awkward Hecarim games. Did he play the worst games of his life? No. He was in difficult compositions. But this one, he has outthought Rascal Jester. He turned up to the bot lane plays, got a double kill on the 2nd time of asking to, and he has absolutely monstered this Lee Sin performance on one of his most played champions of all time.
Jet about to look for some more prey. It's a perfect execution in, but he might now be in trouble. Throws out the Twilight Shroud, takes a lot of damage, won't quite find the kill. Now he's in double, gets satcheled back, left golden, but surely to fall. Will not get the kill in right now. Enti has burned his flash as well. Paz is coming over, but it might be a little too late. Soul over the wall is so low, but
Honey
out. Honey is so low as well. Honey gets knocked up, but no, surely not. They are fighting a way back into the Soul over the wall, still trying to play out, but Once has finally turned up. Sonic Wave, resonating strike. Enti falls down to the rockets, and Rascal Jesters pick up some much needed gold, but Once kick. Q finds another kill. Paz starts slicing, dicing, and culling the meek. Sol about to face the god fist of Lee Sin. Flash finds some time for Once flashing in trade. The smite, surely not quite enough. He doesn't. He survives. Shut down for Sol. Rascal Jesters won't go quietly yet.
No, they've failed so many of the checklists for their composition, but you know what? Sol still got Jinx and they play around it. Sengoku, they are the ones that get overconfident this time. And you know what? You can't blame them with a 10,000 gold lead. Where does this start? Starts with Jet. Again, one of the primary kind of beneficiaries of this early game so far, goes into all of Recap's rotations, and Recap seriously punishes that. And it feels like this is the solo queue, funnel in one at a time. Paz doesn't find a great angle. Enti is tanking up 4 members at a time. Honey, similar kind of position. Recap, seriously, for me, the player of this fight, allows his team to really play around the burst windows which he's shown out. And Rascal Jesters, they showed that if you are still making those mistakes, game's not done yet.
And I've got to call it out off screen. Honey chunked Soul out to 10% HP before this fight starts. And he still manages to survive the entire way to the end.
That is a top tier flash. Yeah.
You might have praised Recap, and rightly so, but Soul's right up there as another one of those players. And somehow he's still in this game.
And that is 850 gold from that kill over to Soul. He has 3 kills now. And you know what? If there's one champion that can do anything, and if you've ever watched a Misfits game in LEC, you'll know this too. It's Jinx. Jinx can punish you at every single turn. Now, Paz actually taking decent damage on the other side. Remember, he's still got the gold to pop in, but...
Here come the rest of Sengoku Gaming. They're going to try and roam this one up, but look, they've got a magical journey. They can try and turn around this one. Hachimecha has got the ultimate, turns it back around. Sengoku Gaming in a bit as bother. Don't quite die. The rocket just goes wide, and the bouncy bomb won't quite land.
It is so close again. So, well, this the first couple of active are going to go back towards the playwright analogy. This one is looking like a bit of a tragedy for Rascal Jester at the start, but it's not over yet. There is still a couple of lines to be written, actually, maybe even a full couple of acts. We'll see how that works out for it. It's another bottle. They catch it on one rotation.
Into the traps. That'll be a lot of damage down. They're going to chunk him up, but look at Jet on the other side getting onto Recap, who satchels the wrong way. He said it's a 1-for-1. Soul gets that one, though, and he's excited. What can happen from here? Jet has to perfectly execute out.
And Soul, once again, beneficiary. Once again, Sengoku not playing around. Honestly, everything they could do. Gold bounties on the board. More gold into Soul. The rest of the supporting crew, those side characters in this one-man show of the Jinx currently are not really getting that far ahead. They're not really seeing much of this, but Soul has the gold.
Surely this isn't happening.
Look, we've seen heartbreak for Sengoku before over so many years of play. I remember back to spring 2020, their first like real crazy roster when they had Blank, Pyrian. They made it to the finals and they got slaughtered. And they didn't manage to end things out, even after winning their own Juggernaut match. Rascal Jester have had 2 finals in a row. But you know what? They've got so much gold onto Soul now.
He's the richest man on the Rift. He is the richest man on the Rift. Somehow, some way, despite the botched early plays, despite dying 3 times, he is now in a position to be a terror. You are so low efficiency as a comp, so high efficiency with gold as a comp. You don't need the gold to make this work.
And to think we praised Sengoku for the early game being so intelligent, being able to understand what Rascal Jester wanted from their comp better than Rascal Jester did, and they're certainly executing better on it. It would feel even worse now if this reverse sweep was stopped at the final hurdle. Literally just hair's breadth away from the finish line.
10,000 gold up.
And you're held back, scruff of the neck by Soul's Jinx. How crushing would that be? Again, we've talked about these teams. So many LJL teams have had this heartbreak time after time, and it's often just been DFM coming out as the winner. The story's not over for either of these teams yet, and Rascal Jester looking to really put the hurt on and make sure the story's not done.
With Rascal Jesters contesting for this Gromp and forcing Jet away, it's likely they'll be giving up this Cloud Dragon, which would be only a second for Sengoku Gaming, and that's a long way away from Soul, which has been true every single game this series. And reminder again, this game means so much. Sengoku Gaming were up so much gold, had read the comp so well.
It will be only their second finals ever.
And somehow, some way, we are still at a point where Rascal Jesters have managed to claw their way back in. They are still, don't get me wrong, a healthy amount of gold down.
They are. And Dragon's going over to, gonna spot that one out, but not actually steal that away from Rascal Jester. It evens up that Dragon score. It's gonna be a Cloud Rift, and I think the Rift is quite important when you are dealing with quite split plays. Paz has cashed in that cull, has reached an early 2 items, but we know what happens with Renekton. It's not the Sterix anymore. You're not able to tank up everything, and you are certainly not tanking up a 10,000 gold Jinx with 3 items at this point in the game. That is terrifying. You're sat here as Paz like, yeah, I've been given a free lane. Yeah, I cashed in like, oh my god, that's a Fed 80 carry.
Call it in here as well, quickly, as we update what the roaming support / jungler has done in secret. That's Imperial Mandate as the option here on Bard as an aside, has still gone towards the support items.
It is anything to enable Jinx. Absolutely anything.
It'll honestly, with Recap not far away from a death cap as well, you throw down enough CC, I don't care, the rest of your team's not doing damage. If their base utility allows those 2 people to hit R at the same time, someone dies.
And the question is, how many people do you need to hit? Is it just the FLOs? Actually, after that point, what happens if Akali's in your backline? I mean, currently, the fight's being split. I would have thought had Brent benefited Rascal Jester, but once
Binding Eclipse will land on the Hachimecha. Recap has to flash. He's flashing into Paz! This might be it. He was so good for so long, but suddenly 2 members are dead. I know flashing away. Sol, though, is still free firing. A flash devour will keep Paz alive. Sol looking for a Mega Death Rocket. Will fire it at Paz. Oh, that's it, but it's not quite enough. The burn gets it. Shutdown come through. Makes it a 2, or makes it a 1 for 3. But you've got Sol and Aino alive against everything, and the Baron's alive.
Oh, Paz cursing the death stands means the bleed comes through afterwards, and it's still a 3 for 1. Jet on the table means that Sol can't really sit here and contest. What is there for Rascal Jesters to do? Can they do anything about this?
Flip misses, and the Baron's still going down. They want to come over and contest. They want to make this difficult. There's a teleport on recap. They're actually having to pull off. They can't do it. They don't have the damage.
But that's the real danger, right? Sol is still there with an insane amount of gold. Sengoku not willing to pull out one of these game-changing plays, one which could go to the negative or the worse, not willing to flip it. They move away.
And I thought that was it for a second. Sengoku finally got a fight that goes their way again after a few that have gone a little bit more even than they would have liked.
But the key things to notice with this is, as you can see in this replay, you don't get maximum value out of the Tempered Fade. I mean, you look at the bar, doesn't catch any of the key carries, and that stops Rascal Jester kind of splitting up and delaying the full force of Sengoku coming to bear. Jet is still in and amongst things. You've still got the Renekton onto key targets, or at least onto a target, let's be honest. And that stance, as we said, gets 1 back and means that Jinx is getting some gold back again. And we've seen how powerful a champion is in these situations. But Rascal Jesters, I think the scary thing for Sengoku is here is that was very much an inopportune fight, and it still got a little close.
Oh, yes, it did. Looking at a 7,000, nearly 8,000 gold lead for Sengoku Gaming. They don't manage to secure the Baron, which I think will be a big relief for Rascal Jester, because then they don't get to save. And I'm looking at my color cast here, Nymera, with his head in his hands. It is a tense game.
I'm sat here trying to hyperfixate on certain bits and try and figure out where this game goes next, because Sengoku are still... Look, okay, let's set out our expectations. Let's just put the lines down. Sengoku, still in the lead. They still have an ability to crush through the back line, but they can't go too fast too quickly, and they can't go too deep into Rascal Jester territory without vision.
He's in trouble.
They need to catch Sol.
He over the wall, but he needs to try to save him. That Tempered Fate is so critical. It times out the Shuriken flip. They just about play it right.
But it's half a second away from the Zigzag actually landing. They don't get the Zigzag down, and now 2 critical ultimates from Rascal Jester are down. What can you do? Those turrets are doing damage.
As work as they can, but that's actually Jet very deep, flashing onto Sol. That's once I apologize. He has to go gold, but he's so deep. Needs to wait out the safeguard. Doesn't make it happen. He's dead. Sol gets it.
And again, it's just a little bit overeager from Sengoku. Seen that a couple of times this game, and rockets coming through. Rascal Jester, maybe not quite done at this turn. They are actually just peeling off position, but
how is he alive? I don't understand.
Crazy things happened, and Sol was briefly separated from the team. And this is what I was kind of saying. Sengoku, they push too far in beyond vision. There are ways for them to get separated, for the rest of the team to get delayed, while Jinx is pinning someone down. And that is
thank you, production.
Perfect way to explain this game.
What is going on?
Thank you for visually showing what is on everyone's minds.
After the early game went so wrong for Rascal Jester, I honestly thought this game was done. Sengoku would have the reverse sweep, but they might still have the last laugh. They're still in this game by hook, by crook, by Sol's insane Jinx performance.
And we're once again pondering some orbs on the board. He's got himself the Oblivion Orb, more utility. That's the name of the game for everyone who isn't getting any damn gold in this game. But we are looking now at Paz, who's struggling in these split fights to actually reach the targets he needs to. He doesn't have a flash currently, and you look at Sol, he doesn't have himself a Gale Force, doesn't have a flash himself. But even then, Renekton is going to struggle to hit home. Dragon is up. That's the Tempered Fate missing. Rascal Jester again. They've played around those cooldowns. They've tried to find the big picks, but those missing a couple of times in a row have given Sengoku more angles than they should have had.
Unfortunately for Rascal Jester as well. Fortunately for Sengoku Gaming, you have now got 3 items on Honey. There's the Bloodthirster and the Infinity Edge. Got a Shadow Flame complete for Jet. That makes these surviving so much harder. You can play these fights so much more evenly now with Sengoku Gaming. Maybe that will be the straw that breaks the camel back. Even if I thought it had been done a little while ago. Throw the rocket. Is it another steal? He's got so many this game. It's going to be too short, I think. And it will still be Sengoku Gaming getting themselves to Soul Point.
We've seen Baron steals. We've seen a couple of Herald steals, blue buffs, you name it, over this series. We've had pretty much everything League of Legends has got to offer. And you know what? After what should have been a fairly quick, easy game from Sengoku, we're actually still getting towards the 30-minute mark, and Baron isn't down. We still have Rascal Jester clinging onto this game. We have gone beyond, what, 40 minutes in every single game? I'm not saying it's going to reach it in this game, but the fact it's lasted this long shows how close these teams are and how much they are willing to just grit their teeth and dig in.
We're entering the final act of the final game, and Nymera makes a very valid set of statements. What could have been, what should have been. Voice it by Sting. See it in that last episode of Arcane, and you know exactly what I mean when Sol's jinx is at this point in the game, against all odds, against all adversity. You can hear the strings playing. You can hear the song screaming up. It could be a swan song for either team at this point.
He's on the desk. See if we can get him to sing after this series. We'll see what happens. But I mean, last game, actually the last 2 games have been the Honey show. And again, it is so hard to talk about Sengoku, or actually, honestly, the LJL in general, without talking about Honey, because he's been such a crazy player, such a defining player for this region over the last year in terms of the players which aren't on DFM. The players which are still holding their heads up behind and say, you know what, there's talent elsewhere. This is not a one-team region. Don't get me wrong, DFM are sat at the top of the tree. They're watching this series and they're taking notes. They're looking to see what they can abuse from these teams and the openings that they show. But Honey and Sol are going the distance in this series, and they are both standing up and making an absolute mess of each other's teams.
Prepare yourselves for what could be the fight that decides it all. I've said that a few times this game, but Baron down, and all 5 members from both teams around about. Jet looking for a flank, looking to get onto it. Hachimecha, a little split off. What can Jet get done? Who can he get onto?
Well, they're looking for something. Jet, he's found Ino at the very start of it, but a tunnel gets them out. And again, Rascal Jester, they have the vision. We talk about this team being a good ensemble team. Their fundamentals are in order. They get the vision down. They know what they're playing around. Their decision-making is sound, and they get out. And once again, it's not like Sengoku can play around all of their advantages quite as easily as they'd like.
Absolutely not. And the thing is, Secret at this point, with enough CDR, is able to... Ability haste, I apologize. I still have that phrasing embedded in my mind. Has got enough space for magical journeys. When you've got Satchels, when you've got Leona, when you've got all these things, it's actually not so hard for Rascal Jester to disengage, assuming they're near some walls as the smite comes through and stops that blue.
And this is actually, speaking of that, I mean, Sengoku have themselves at soul point, but you can't really risk that Baron. Not against Tempered Fate. Not against, particularly actually, I'm a fan of geography when it comes to League of Legends, not so much the school subject, but you look at this map and you think, if you're on red side, you do not want to be stuck in the pit against this one. Not against Ziggs, not against Bard ult, not against Jinx Rockets, not against Solar Flare. Pretty much every champion on Rascal Jester was sat there just daring you to go in towards that Baron. You don't even have the best Baron damage unless Aphelios has the right weapons. And what this means is that Sengoku can't take that objective to crush this game through. It's another way, kind of RNG in some ways in terms of the soul which has come through, for Rascal Jester to stall out the game and keep themselves in it.
And it's so hard to keep Rascal Jesters out of the pit. You've got Magical Journey, you've got 2 smites, 2 flashes, Tempered Fate. Like, it's all well and good starting it, but like, you can't just kill one juggler. It's so hard to actually like find a time where it's safe to take Baron. Like, it's just so difficult. It's not even like the damage, it's the ability to get a smite into the pit.
And they're looking at it again now, but this time Sengoku have actually secured the vision on the way to the pit. Jet is on vision, so Rascal Jester takes the largest path in here. Rascal Jester, they see Paz. What are they going to do? It's not like Sengoku have stopped the Baron, but they have no way forward.
Down to 5k. Now moving in. Recap in Sol in the middle here, but it's going to be 3v5 in the river. Jet's now off vision. What can you get done? It's not the best kick ever. They're trying to keep people out of the pit.
That's the sun!
Paz is into the backside. Could it be at least a 1-for-1 here? Surely Paz has gone golden, trying to stay alive. They get him! Perfectly executes Sol! It's a team fight! Wipe! And Rascal Jester's choke when it matters. Triple for Jet. Sengoku Gaming might be looking for the reverse sweep right here, right now.
They're gonna head back towards the
Baron.
Baron's the one on the table. They're not going in towards the base. They don't have the wave, but Sengoku, they finally piece together the puzzle and say, we have that vision control. We have enough damage to stay on the Baron and still threaten the Tempered Fate. Does delay things a little, but you look at what happens with Paz just sitting over here and saying, okay, well, sure, you can go towards this, but you know all of that gold you gave up from top lane, that's gone into me, and while you have it on the Jinx, let's see how they like all of these empowered abilities. And Sol, between the solo laners' combined efforts, gets absolutely removed. Maybe you could have flashed out, but it's so hard to react to that perfect execution. You know what? Honey still did damage to clean wipe from Sengoku.
Flash perfect execution means no hope, no way, no how for Sol. He nearly had the dead Renekton, but stopwatch buys time, and you can see the damage there in that one. Jet, Honey, absolute put on the afterburner. It's a Mach 5 performance for both of them.
Yeah, all lights are go, all signs pointing towards the Sengoku fight. Sengoku gonna claim themselves a soul after the Baron goes down, and Sengoku is sat poised for another ticket to finals. Their first one since spring 2020, since that super team they built up all the way back then with Blank, with Pyrion. And you know what? They are looking like they really want to take another bite at DFM, get themselves at least one win on the board against them. Couldn't do that in the Juggernaut match. Prove that again. LJL is not a one-team region, that there are teams to be feared here.
Sol is still the ace in the hole, though. He's full build on this Jinx. He can do so much damage, but they can't quite kill Honey. He's down to 10%, 5% HP. The redemption comes through to keep him alive. But that was very close to a dead Aphelios.
Now imagine that combo if you hadn't fell 10k behind in the early game. Rascal Jesters, they prepared this. They understood what they were playing around, and Sengoku really beat them to the punch and slaughtered through the early game. They're looking to finish off this game. Honey regen back up that redemption, keeping him topped up just beyond it, and they're pushing into the base.
In goes once, gets a kick onto Sol! He's dead! Honey gets the kill! They're finally pushing it in, and Sengoku Gaming have done it! They pull the trigger! They pull the game out of the bag! Double smite roaming tops! I don't give a damn! Reverse sweep! And Rascal Jester are pushed under the rug! It's a rematch with DFM!
Just like it was, sing the song of yesteryear. 2020 was the Juggernaut match into the finals of DFM versus Sengoku. We're gonna go take a blast from the past for it once again, and Sengoku, after two terrible first two games in some ways, ones where they felt like they could have fought back, but they just got beaten to the punch, sat staring down the barrel of a potential 0-3, bring back the series in, I'm gonna say it, the best series the LJL has ever seen.
What incredible drama. What incredible exposition, storylines, play, the whole list of it. It was not always the cleanest, but it was extraordinarily entertaining. I don't really know where to go from there aside from...
Well, let's start like this. So obviously, while we've got you all here, you know, we are a fan broadcast that has been around for 2.5 years. We started this to start casting, to get ourselves into esports, to enjoy a region which didn't have international content for it in English. And it's moments like these which make it so worth it. So for those of you who have been introduced to our region through this, I hope you enjoyed the show again. But for everyone else involved with this, it is such a special moment to see such talent, such storylines be exposed to the open air and have moments like this which get your blood absolutely boiling.
It was a pleasure. It was our honor. But from myself and Nymera, the Hapgood sibling duo, are signing off for the day. We're handing over to the analyst desk to finish this one out. Stick around. You don't want to miss this. Cool down with us.
What a series. What a series. Here we are. After 6 hours, I think, in the end. 6 hours, 11 minutes calls production of some of the finest League of Legends the LJL has ever produced. And we're not done, gentlemen. We're not even done. Sengoku Gaming have done it. I've won the prediction war. That's not what's important here. What is important is that Sengoku, against all odds, have reverse swept, like Lexi's off in space, like, doesn't even matter. Against all odds. Overcame Rascal Jesters, and now have to fight DFM once again in the grand finals. We've just had maybe the longest series in LJL memory, and now we have to see a repeat of one of the fastest. This Sunday, 9 a.m. UTC, it will happen. Swan, is it going to be different? Are we going to see the improvement? Are you still mentally hurt? Tell me anything you want to.
I think he's still muted.
Swan, you're still muted. We love you, buddy. Middlecott, give me your impressions.
Yeah. This is why you watch League of Legends, honestly, series like this.
It's so good.
This had absolutely everything. We had steals, we had clutch moments, we had fumbles. We even had one of the craziest drafts that I've ever seen in Game 5 come out from the Rascal Jester. And we were all convinced that the game was over after the first 5 minutes. But the way that they fought back, but then the way that Sengoku closed was even cleaner. Do I think this Sengoku stands up against DFM? It's going to be hard. But if nothing else, they have shown incredible tenacity today to come back in not only a BO5, but an incredibly extended BO5 where every single game was absolutely going down to the wire. Temporal, I've spoken a lot, but there are no words to describe a series like this.
There are no true words, and what a long series. RMC, what grit, what resilience from Sengoku.
I know, right? They're back into the game. It's 2-2. We're going to game 5, right? That's the resilience we're talking about, right?
Yeah, like we still got game 5 to go. I don't know what you're talking about, huh?
Exactly.
Huh?
I feel like I've been slapped in the face particularly hard this series because, I was just saying that we're going towards the pinnacle of gameplay. They're getting better and better. And then we had this. And you know what? I applaud the mental resilience of Sengoku to be able to play through that game and actually close it out. And for Rascal Jesters, okay, I'm memeing a lot here. I'm bashing Rascal Jesters a lot because it really did not work. And I'm still not sold on this idea of top smite support. I fell in love with Axis because of a Bard smite support. I have fallen out of love with the LJL, specifically Rascal Jesters, because of a Bard top smite support. It doesn't work anymore. They changed the rules here. And I understand that Rascal Jesters wanted to pull something out. They wanted to look to the name, clown around a little bit. And sure, there were moments of brilliance for Soul, but I feel like if you're burger flipping a game 5 on that, that is not the team you want to have represent you at MSI.
Reaching too deep, too far, too much. Lexi, you've been around the block here. This is a mass one that has known the LGL for some time. Your feelings?
That was greater than the caliber of Sengoku versus Detonation Focus Me all the way back in spring 2020, where Sengoku were victorious over Detonation Focus Me, and really that was the catalyst for certain changes we've now seen in DFM, who are now currently in that finals, right? This was a series that honestly kind of broke me and then rebuilt me, broke me again.
Every single game. Every single game.
Every time. I would scream, but I have no mouth anymore, and I must scream, but because this game, this series, I just love Honey, man. I love Honey.
Yeah.
That's so
much, man.
So much. What a series to cap out semi-finals for the day. As Nightmare mentioned, this is a community broadcast. If you want to see more of us, links are just down below. You can find us at our Twitter handles above. Oh my gosh. I am drained. I am tired, and my day has been made. The time to complete on the rebuild, as Swan mentioned, 40 minutes as soon as we hit lock-in on every single game. We hope you have enjoyed
on this last one.
That's why it never happened. This last one isn't an actual game.
Even longer than it, frankly, I thought it was gonna. Like, there was that tendency, and I just thought that moment in the mid game, like, oh, we're gonna see 40 again. We have, of course, our MVP vote to award. In the meantime, it is just coming together in the background, behind the scenes. We want to thank Chris Edgeworth for the fantastic producing today. When we ask what is going on, Chris is what's going on.
Clappers in the chat.
Clappers in the chat. I want to say thank you very much because it's been a long old day. You know who it's been a longer day for than Chris? Honey.
I mean, what can you say about this guy? We talked about how the bot lane was going to be a pivotal matchup in this series right back at the start of the day. We said that Soul was going to be favored and he had a phenomenal series, but Honey was able to bring it out in the clutch. That Aphelios in game 4, winning the final team fight,
Game
taking
3.
us. So
I
don't even know, Marswan. It's all going into one right now.
Mate, if we're talking Honey, I know.
Oh, but like, honestly, an exceptional player. And to pick an MVP of a series like this almost feels like cheating because so many people had so many excellent performances. Recap, Jet, I know, Paz, all phenomenal at various points. But I think over the course of the series, consistency at a high level, it's got to be Honey.
Got to be Honey. Once again, thank you, Chris. All the beautiful graphics, all of the production. It's been a great time. I've been Temporal on the Analyst Desk. We will see you this Sunday for our grand finals. We can only promise at least this much heartbreak, at least this much romance, at least this much LJL. See you Sunday at 9 a.m. UTC. Please check Leaguepedia for your time zone. It should be updated there for you. Sengoku, have